Hello, dear friends. We are heartily aware of the global significance of the blockade of the Suez Canal, nor of the repercussions it will have on the coming global transformation. Opinion piece. Everything is speeding up. The veils are falling. New crisis on the crisis. Welcome to March Madness. International trade blockade. This can accelerate the transformation. No one will be able to say, I just didn't know it. Schumann resonance is out of scale. Move from the reactive mind to the creative mind. Another cascading failure of the global economy. Suez Canal blockade changes the world. Causes a crisis in international trade. Could affect the global supply chain. Attempt to free huge cargo ship fails. It would take weeks to undock this vessel. Rumors claim this is an operation. Blockade cost $400 million every hour. UK makes plans for war in space. Space hurricane detected for the first time on Earth. German researchers create false memories, then erase them. Scientists may have stumbled upon a new type of physics. Let's start. The chessboard of world geopolitics has changed with the blockade of the Suez Canal on Tuesday, which for the time being has also blocked part of the world trade. Some say it was an accident, and others that it was an operation coordinated by the coalition. But in any case, this is another crisis on top of the health crisis. We were already suffering with all kinds of restrictions. The blockage of the Suez Canal by a stranded ship is an emblematic event of the cascading failures in the global economy. A controlled demolition of all human activity is leading us to the transformation of the financial system, which has a massive global economic consequences that will set the stage for the transformation we are waiting for. The price of oil has already started to rise, and for the most part, people have focused on the impact of gasoline. 15% of the world's rice and wheat flows throughout the Suez Canal, along with many other commodities. Industry experts warn of further shortages and supply chain disruptions. Unfortunately, due to the design of the canal and the point at which the ship became stranded, it has caused a major blockage that is not easy to undo. The company in charge of refloating the ship said it could take weeks. Speculation. According to Rafapar, rumors claims that we are in a coalition operation in order to expose illicit trafficking networks and generate a stock market crash that would lead to the restart of the monetary system. The giant evergreen container ship blocking the Suez Canal could be full of what we all know. The revelation of this head-breaking cargo could be the shot head around the world, the first domino to fall in the final destruction of the quagmire. We are in the most tense phase of the operation. Much patience is requested of all light warriors. Can we continue to be patient? Yes, for the most part. Is it fun to be patient? Absolutely not. It's not fun at all, although there is the advantage that it's a character-building exercise and a source of rapid soul growth. The blockade is causing a crisis in international trade. Hundreds of ships were waiting for the blockade to end. There was also US military exercises in the Suez Canal area, and it was said that they were causing the blockade. There was a good reason for that. They have to remove the containers from the evergreen ship to unblock it from the canal. Those containers were believed to contain what we all know. A red alert about financial collapse would mark the beginning of the currency reset. For some time, the stock market has been falsely halted and plunged into the deep red for the past 7 days. In addition to the stock market and Suez Canal crisis in international trade, the political elites have ensured an insane level of fiat currency printing. A year-long global economic blockade because of the supposed health crisis and the passage of $1 billion of stimulus spending bill to create a perfect storm for such a financial collapse. Consequences. The massive container ship Evergreen is still stranded in the Suez Canal, blocking traffic in both directions. More than 200 ships carrying everything from foodstuffs to oil and gas are now piling up at both ends of this important waterway, potentially delaying the supply of goods and affecting the world economy. The narrow Suez Canal, whose width is in some part less than 205 meters, connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea, and it is a crucial shipping lane throughout which some 30% of the world's shipping container volume and around 12% of global merchandise trade passes. An unsuccessful attempt was made this Friday to free the giant container ship Evergreen, stranded in the Suez Canal. 2 additional tugboats will arrive at the area next 28th to help move the cargo ship. Very powerful cranes and tugs are needed. Suez Canal blockade holds up $400 million worth of trade per hour. The strangest mega container ship Evergreen in the Suez Canal is holding up an estimated $400 million worth of trade per hour, based on the approximate value of goods moving throughout Suez every day. Lloyd's values the canal's westbound traffic at about $5.1 billion per day, and eastbound traffic is about $4.5 billion per day. The blockade is doing more damage in an already strained supply chain. Late news. Delay is more correct. Delay. Excuse me. If the Suez Canal remains blocked for 2 days, the impact will be limited to a gradual worsening of already severe ships delays. But if it does so for another 3 or 5 days, then this will begin to have very serious global ramifications. Suez Canal to remain blocked for several weeks while cargo ship is unblocked. Work continues in Egypt to unblock the cargo ship that was blocked Tuesday while trying to cross from China to Rotterdam. Experts say it will take weeks to refloat it. The freighter Evergreen, which ran aground in the Suez Canal, Egypt on Tuesday, while trying to cross, is due to a sandstorm which strong gusts of wind will remain stranded in the waterway for several weeks, experts say. The ship had sailed from China and was on its way to Rotterdam. The Suez Canal, which connects the Red Sea with the Mediterranean, carries 10% of the world's trade. Shortages. The Panamanian-flagged vessel, owned by Taiwan's Evergreen, ran aground in one of the world's main shipping lanes, blocking the passage of dozens of ships. experts warned of a possible shortage. As luck would have it, the Evergreen, with its 200,000 tons of weight, 400 meters long and 59 meters wide, has become a huge blockage that barely leaves any space for a tugboat to approach the vertical of the ship and free the passage in the second most important maritime enclave of the planet. Paradoxically, the ship, one of the largest and most modern cargo ships in the world, has run aground right in the main canal, throughout which more than 50 ships pass every day. In 2020 alone, the canal reached 19,000 ships passing through its docks, a figure that in turn leaves more than €4.5 billion a year to the Egyptian authorities. Approximately 12% of the world trade passes through the Suez Canal, a connection point between the Mediterranean and the Red Sea, and more importantly, it's the direct route for the arrival of goods from the Middle East and much from Asia to Europe. The 193 kilometers long Suez Canal is among the busiest waterways in the world, used by tankers transporting crude oil from the Middle East to Europe and North America. Approximately 12% of oil trade and 8% of liquefied natural gas pass through the canal, as do about 1 million barrels of oil each day. So far, no progress has been made in floating the ship and cleaning the canal. The weight of the ship, some 224,000 tons, and the small price of the tax controlled by the canal authorities have hampered the work so far. The ship owners are in talks with Smith Savage, which has larger tax, indicating that it may take days to unblock the canal. Rescue. Tugs and draggers are currently working to dislodge the ship, which has been stuck since Tuesday night, but the operation could take weeks, warned one of the executives involved. In the national efforts to dislodge the skyscraper-sized cargo ship blocking the Suez Canal intensified, but made little progress Thursday, as shipping traffic wreaked havoc on global trade. Egyptian authorities said shipping was still temporarily suspended after the container got stuck sideways in the canal due to a heavy dust storm and poor visibility. That means traffic remained halted on a route that accounts about 12% of world trade, as the shipping saga passed the 48-hour mark. Description: the Suez Canal is a navigable waterway located in Egypt that links the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea. The canal turned the Sinai region into a new peninsula, forming the border between the continents of Africa and Asia. It's 163 kilometers long between Port Said on the Mediterranean shore and Suez on the Red Sea coast. It shortens the maritime trade route between Europe and South Asia, as it avoids having to go around the African continent. The canal allows the passage of ships with a drop of up to 20 meters of 240,000 deadweight tons and a maximum height of 68 meters above water level. The maximum permissible span is 77.5 meters under a number of conditions. These dimensions limit the size of new container ships built to transit it. The limitations imposed by the Egyptian canal are less restrictive than those of the Panama Canal. which had led the later to fall behind in the race to become the preferred route for ships. In some cases, ships must unload in order to transit. Ships that meet the appropriate parameters for navigating the canal in terms of draft and being and height are qualified as Suezmax type ships. Technical name. News brief. Short news. Biden says Mexico refuses to receive deported families. The president assured Thursday in a press conference that Mexican authorities are refusing to receive back the families of deported migrants. The issue is being negotiated with the government of Andrés Manuel López Obrador within the framework of the migratory crisis that is being experienced at the border of both countries. A Marine Corps F-35B stealth fighter fights its cannon and damages itself. A projectile fired from a nozzle installed under the fuselage exploded shortly after exiting the muzzle of the weapon. Although the aircraft managed to land, the accident has been classified with the highest category of severity. A Marine Corps F-35B stealth fighter bomber sustained significant damage to the underside of its fuselage when a projectile fired from its 25mm cannon explodes shortly after exiting the muzzle of the weapon. Attack on Saudi oil terminal leaves fuel tank ablaze after wave of Houthi drone strikes nearby towns. An attack on an oil terminal on Saudi Arabia's Red Sea coast set a fuel tank ablaze Friday after several Houthi drones attacked two towns not far from the Yemeni border. Israeli cargo ship damaged by Iranian missile in Arabian Sea. The report comes a month after an incident in the Gulf of Oman left another Israeli ship, MV Elios Ray, damaged, though not critically, after two explosions on its hull. Tel Aviv alleged that Iran may have been behind the attack, but Tehran strongly denies involvement. Taiwan mass produces long-range missiles against China. Taiwan's military has made an extremely rare admission that could accelerate China's efforts to dominate the democratic island. A senior official acknowledged Thursday that Taiwan has begun mass production of long-range missiles capable of striking mainland China. U.S. expected prolonged and unprecedentedly harsh military rule in Argentina. Washington's embassy in Buenos Aires warned before the military coup that the military leadership would engage in human rights violations. The White House was not only aware that the military coup was being prepared for March 1976 in Argentina, but also that de facto government would be prolonged of unprecedented severity. Digital news. Bitcoin soars after Elon Musk's announcement on the use of the cryptocurrency to buy Teslas. Just 2 minutes after the entrepreneur's tweet, the price of the digital currency increased by $736, reaching $55,545. The Bitcoin has soared this Wednesday, moments after US billionaire Elon Musk announced that Tesla vehicles can be purchased with said cryptocurrency. Google offers $60,000 to a university professor, and he turned it down. On March 10, Stark received an email from Google announcing that he had been selected to receive $60,000 in funding for research he was conducting on how companies use artificial intelligence to detect emotions, A week later, the educator responded in a letter thanking the company for the vote of confidence in his research, but made it clear that he couldn't accept the award out of solidarity with Dr. Jebru and Mitchell, their teammates, and all those who have been in similar situations. In quotes. Science and technology. German researchers create false memories and then erase them in people's minds. A research team in Germany has achieved great success by conducting experiments to create false memories in people's minds and then erase them. At the same time, however, the researchers said it could have serious implications for the judicial system. Scientists may have stumbled upon a new type of physics. Scientists at the Large Hadron Collider have recorded some very unusual data that could point to an entirely new force of nature, which would mean a whole new area of physics. The secret lies in an elusive and unstable particle called the B meson, which does not biodegrade according to plan. A space hurricane detected for the first time on Earth. The phenomenon is not related to meteorological hurricanes, but was caused by the solar wind generating large plasma eddy above the Earth's upper atmosphere in the North Pole region. Although it has already been detected on other planets, this is the first time it has been observed on Earth. The space hurricane occurred over the North Pole at a diameter of about 1,000 kilometers and was spinning at a speed of up to 2,100 meters per second, although the center remained still. But instead of triggering rain, it released electrons over the ionosphere that triggered an aurora in the form of a cyclone. UK makes plan for war in space. On March 22, the UK government released its Defence Comment Paper 2021, a 66-page document that provides further clarity on the previous week's integrated review, outlining London's grand vision for its role in the world over the next decade, with respect to armed forces and intelligence capabilities and operations. As a result, by 2030, the UK intends to have the capability to monitor, protect and defend its interests in and throughout space. In support of this grand ambition, over the next 10 years, a total of £5 billion will be invested in Skynet, the Ministry of Defense military communication satellite network, which supports the highly controversial Five Eyes global spying apparatus. In addition, £1.4 billion will be spent on establishing a dedicated space command to improve the UK's military control of the space domain, launching a national space operations centre, developing a constellation of intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance satellites, and creating a space academy to train the country's new army of space specialists, men and women, of course. An invisible force tears apart the closest star cluster to Earth. Colossal forces influencing the system point to the presence of an object as large as 10 million times the mass of the Sun, but it is not visible. The Hyades, the closest star cluster to Earth, is influenced by a nearby invisible space object that is about 10 million times the mass of the Sun. The veils are falling. The recent equinox and a coming supermoon, along with solar flares and the off-scale Schumann resonance will make March a month to remember. This will continue through April, according to James Gilliland. It is time to heal and end the victim cycle and take back our power. The onion is peeling, layer after layer, and we are now dealing with our core issues. The breakdown is occurring with all institutions exposing their essence as well. We are being told about contracts and connections that are not in our highest and best good. These contracts or agreements must be broken, and visible and invisible connections that are not in our highest and best good must be severed. No more physical bonds, vampirisms, or connections based on dependencies. This desire for freedom and self-authority or individual empowerment is being amplified by the higher consciousness and the energy pressing down on the earth. The sun is conscious. The photon belt is conscious. The mountains becoming volcanoes are conscious. The earthquakes and the earth expands are part of the process. Every form is conscious, and everything is responding to the higher consciousness and energy entering this solar system. The bioelectric fields around our body, the physical body itself, our DNA, and even the fields containing our past life memories are being affected. It is called the Great Awakening, and it is multidimensional. As the veils are lifted, we will see master saints and sages, beings from other worlds more spiritually and technologically advanced, our central ancestors, the star nations, even mythological beings such as gnomes, fairies, elves, the Bigfoot, etc., will begin to make appearances. We will also see shadow people, astral beings, regenerated ETs, demons, a host of low-level entities that have operated with impunity and seen all along. It all comes with an expanded consciousness and ascension. Polarities are widening. Some are on a downward spiral. Others will continue to be upward spiral. Unfortunately, the ignorant, those who willfully and in ignorance participate with the downward spiral, the socially engineered, the critical thinking and research impaired who have opted for denial, will experience what has been planned for hundreds of years, puppets for the dark side. This is not a war between parties, culture or religions. It is a war against humankind, a war between good and evil. If people have not yet realized this, they have no choice in either. Their denial will be their demise. There may be some truth in Darwin's theory that there is natural selection by degree of intelligence. It is said that the meek shall inherit the earth. The meek are the wise, but insightful, the slow to anger, but steadfast in what is highest and best for them and their loved ones. It might be a good idea to listen to them, the true healers and scientists, those without a hidden agenda. As the veils become thinner, we are going to have to learn to heal the invisible negative influences, cut the cords, the psychic ties, maintain our self-authority. This includes all past and present contracts and agreements that are not in our highest and best good. We will have to take personal responsibility for our attitudes, emotions, and beliefs, clearing any thought forms that limit mental concepts. Ascension is not about eating goji berries, Facebook spirituality, turning your body into a pretzel, or living a half-truth, ignoring the dark side inside and out. It is about brutal honesty honesty with yourself, putting an end to denial. Self-mastery is about mastering all dimensions of the self. Self-awareness is being aware of the multidimensional world in which you live. Self-authority is maintaining a frequency, knowing your own unique purpose for incarnating. Personal responsibility is recognizing your wounds, traumas, and wrong conclusions from past experiences. Letting go of making others responsible for your happiness, your survival, your love, your joy, and your acceptance of all internal rather than externally driven decisions. We come from the Creator, so we are children of the Most High. As Meister Eckhart said, if nut seeds produce nut trees, and pear seeds produce pear trees, what do the seeds of God produce? The choice is up to us. Universal law is coming. Better to be on the right side of evolution. Are you going to be a good or a victim? Are you going to be a god or a victim? Remember that the only reason anyone has power over you is because you want something from them. That something comes from within. Be what you desire. Live as if you already have it. Move from the reactive mind to the creative mind. Healing techniques, meditation for the world, and self-healing, connecting to higher dimensions, are removing invisible negative influences, are available in many books and in many videos. No one will be able to say, I didn't know that. You didn't want to know. That's the answer. That's the problem. Thanks a lot, dear friends, and thanks for your attention. Be good and be happy.